And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
This is supposed to be sort of a private event, and there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsay, you learned that a long time ago, right?
Folks, we have each day to be thankful for the amount of work that's being done by a small group of leaders using law and order to bring about not only the future takedown of the most vile people on earth, which is probably the past, but the exposure phase to ensure folks know who the real traitors are in our country. It's working. We will look into Clinton's, Graham, Gaza, Brennan, Democrat violent rhetoric being out there, played on the mainstream media again, and we're going to find hope for the future today also. So I don't know if you caught that from the intro. President Trump saying a couple of things that we're going to get into today. I'm looking forward to that. I wanted to share with you that Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a live show Q&A with Dr. Shockley where you can ask questions from her and gain some more information on that. The link for that is below this video. You can click on it and hold that. So when it plays, you'll have the link ready to go, and we'll email that out to our subscribers also, okay?
Today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing.
They're getting killed in the polls. The Democrat Party is dying. They know it. They're falling apart. They're not getting the people to follow them at all anymore. And the talking points are working out of D.C. Here we go with Mike Johnson.
Do not let them distract you from the facts. The American people would have an open government if Democrats were not terrified of their radical base. That is the headline. Every single one of you should write that.
That's right. They're terrified. They do not want the radicals to be upset with them. That's all they got left.
That's the ugly truth. The Democrats are not governing in good faith. They're covering their own tail. They're out here decrying the so-called forthcoming health care crisis, they say. It's the one that they themselves created. The Democrats created Obamacare. They're the ones that created a subsidy with an expiration date. They're the ones that did all of this. Republicans are trying to fix it. And they're trying to blame Republicans for the crisis they themselves created. They cry foul when we won't bail them out of their own shutdown. I don't have anything to offer, as I've explained. I don't have any partisan priority I can pull off of the CR to make it more palatable for them. There's nothing to negotiate. They just have to do what they've always done in the past, that they did 13 times during the Biden administration, and they did as recently as March of this year, to open the government so that people can get their services and their paychecks.
Yep. It's good to keep that those talking points going day in and day out. They need to continue to push that. And hopefully there's enough social media influencers out there like RSBN and others that are being watched so that we can understand the truth behind all this. Guys, can you imagine if all we had is the mainstream media? Can you imagine? They would probably, all the people throughout America, 90% of them would say, oh, look at the Republicans are so bad, they could just vote to keep the government open. Now we've got plenty of influencers out there and others showing the truth behind all of this. But just in case you're wondering, yeah, they still think they have got the people on their side. They do. They've got their side, the small percentage left over. So they bring Karine Jean-Pierre. Remember this fool that was talking to the press every day? The one that had her hair all decorated, different types of, I don't know, she doesn't even look the same to me anymore. But anyway, she's on MSNBC, and listen to her since they're in panic mode, how she talks to the people.
And right now, in this moment, there's an existential threat. Our democracy is hanging by a thread. Some people would say we're already an authoritarian regime. And I need to see teeth. I need to see fire. And not just me. Many people are worried and concerned.
I need to see teeth. I need to see fire. Many people are concerned. What people? Who are the many people? Oh, the puppet masters. You mean the people behind the scenes that were paying you guys off? The ones who worship Satan? Those people. I need teeth. I need fire. So, of course, this word gets out to the masses, and you wonder why they would start misbehaving on the streets. You think that maybe they might watch MSNBC, some of them. Well, I can't play this. The audio is too sickening, and there's a couple of images of here, the guy flicking this guy off. But I'm going to kind of scroll through this. If I play it, every other word we'd have to bleep out, so it wouldn't even make sense. But ICE raided Canal Street in New York City. So there's a video of the migrants who illegally sell on Canal Street. These are the drug dealers and illegal counterfeit sellers. People are mad about being deported. So you can see what's happening when Nick Shirley's out there. This illegal gets out in front of his face and is cussing him out and is giving him the finger, and he continues to push him around, hit his camera, and tell him to get away. This is our street. No, it's not your street. And he's mad because they're being exposed by the cameras. You can see how he's getting in his face, and he's screaming and yelling at him and pointing at him, saying, get away from here. He's simply trying to ask him questions. He wasn't even harassing him. He was just asking the guy some simple questions. And so he was telling people, hey, why don't you, around him, why don't you go spray this guy? Some people don't want to be on camera, says another guy. And then this guy gets in his face and punches the cameraman. They start shoving him around, and they start getting upset. Well, let's see. Maybe, just maybe, they could turn on MSNBC and say, hey, you know that Karine Jean-Pierre? Yeah, you know, she's actually calling for teeth and fire. We need to get out there and start hitting these people and knocking them around, because that's what she's asking for, because they're a danger to our democracy. They're a danger to our ways of illegals coming in and selling drugs. They're a danger to our ways of pushing LGBT into our schools and into the children. They're a danger to our way, our left way of bringing socialism and communism into this country, says Karine Jean-Pierre. That's a translation. And then you go on to other places, like massive raids in New York City's Chinatown. And you see folks getting angry. ICE conducting massive raids. Illegals are known to sell counterfeit goods there, and they're starting to take them in one at a time. And I tell you what, they're in New York, and when the people start gathering around and becoming a little more on the dangerous side, well, I tell you what, the more people that show up on the wrong side, they're going to start bringing problems for the ICE folks. And before you know it, we're going to have to bring in the military, because these guys are not going to hold back. And what's very interesting, when I watch some of these clips, I see these guys with the guns on their holsters, and it just takes one guy to grab one of those. Before you know it, things go crazy. Very dangerous out there. And what does Karine Jean-Pierre tell them to do? I need teeth. I need fire out there. Come on now. Speaking for her people, her side on the left, who worship at the feet of the Democrats no matter what. You know what's happening in this country. Big corporations and the deep state are swallowing up family farms and ranches. We're talking 15 to 30,000 gone every year, folks. In just the last 5 years, 20.1 million acres of farmland erased. Families who've been raising your food for generations are being pushed off their land, and the ones who survive, well, they're hidden behind big corporate brands never recognized. That's why I want to introduce you to Traitors beef. They're a fifth-generation Texas family ranch, and they raise cattle the right way. Pasture-raised, grain-finished for flavor and tenderness, and never touched with mRNA shots. And here's something I love. They even source from other ranchers who meet their same high standards. It's all the same care, genetics, and integrity. Their beef is the real deal. High-end Black Angus genetics, aged to perfection, shipped straight from the ranch to your door. This isn't just about a steak. It's about taking a stand for American ranching, real food, and the families who make both possible. So if you want to fight back, if you want to keep your dinner table connected to real American hands, go to trybeef.com/AWK and support Tri-Tails today in the description box below.
We've already seen the impacts of the dangerous game that they're playing. Democrats are causing delays in our air traffic control system. So important. We wouldn't have had, this Pete Buttigieg, he spent billions of dollars on fixing the air traffic control that used copper wire going into glass wire. Any union electrician here or any non-union electrician would say you can't hook copper into glass. It doesn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They turned on the system, and it was stone cold blank. We're getting a brand new system. We have bids out now. We have 3 great companies bidding, and I want one bid. Sean Duffy's doing terrifically. I want one bid. I want just bid, and they're responsible for everything. Not where they had like 1,000 contractors. Every contractor, they were all running around. In the end, if one of them does a bad job, we want to be able to blame somebody, and it's going to be one of the very big companies because there's a lot of interest in it. So the air traffic control system is going to be rebuilt. Over 1 million federal workers right now, as you know, are going unpaid. That's the Democrats' fault. And children, tourists, unable to visit the museums in Washington, D.C., that we now have beautiful, safe streets, but we don't have the museums open. We should probably just open them. But we are doing things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever seen. So all of this and the pain that the Democrats have caused during this reckless and completely unnecessary affair, and you could call it the Schumer shutdown or the Democrat shutdown, you can call it whatever you want. And
Air traffic control. Danger in the air. Danger for our people as we continue to travel. We had this guy, Fetterman, bringing up some very interesting points. I'm surprised they're even letting him talk. But he's making sense.
Are you surprised that vote after vote, it's just been 3 Democrats time and again who voted for this bill? And does that surprise you?
Yeah, it's Groundhog Day, and I'm just saying, and it's not entertaining. That's a great movie. And now it's like real damage is are now touching the lives of regular Americans, and we all lose, and it's embarrassing to our allies and to our enemies abroad.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. It's a bad movie. It's almost like he knows, huh? Something else is going on.
But I would say he would be the leader of the party. It's not Schumer. Schumer's shot.
Schumer is shot. He says it again, folks.
He's shot. This poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I've known him for a long time, but I think he's mentally gone. He's been beat up by young, radical lunatics. And I think Chuck Schumer he's gonzo. I really do. I think he's probably not going to run. It shows that he's losing in every poll. Now, this is hard. He wants to meet with me. It's sort of hard to be with a guy after I make a statement like that, but I'm just giving you the facts. I think Chuck is probably finished. I know some people, Democrats, that would be good. Some good politicians and some, reasonable people. But I understand that they would not have a chance of, getting even the concept of holding the torch, they're not going to get it. But they have some people that I really believe they're low IQ people. They're stupid people, and they seem to be leading the party.
So he says Schumer's shot. He's gone bonzo, clown. And it reminds me of a time when we were told by President Trump.
Shot, he's like got half of his head left, and he's out. Now he's shot, he's like got half of his head left, and he's out.
This is talking about Biden, President Trump. He's shot. He's got half of his head left.
Think of it. He's totally shot.
Joe is shot. Let's face it. Joe is shot. Now, maybe people are going to feel sorry for him and maybe it wouldn't, but our country is too important for that. You can't have a guy that's shot. You can't have a guy that doesn't know where he is.
Let's not kid ourselves. Joe is shot, okay? He's shot. They gave him a big fat shot. Somebody said, oh, he won't do well at the debate. I said, I think you're wrong. He'll do fine. He's going to do fine. They'll give him a big shot or something and he'll go out there. 3 weeks. 3 weeks in, Joe's shot. Let's go, Kamala. You ready? Now, I have to tell you, he's a different guy. He looks different than he used to. He acts different than he used to. He's even slower than he used to be. So
he's a different guy. He's shot. And President Trump puts the finger to his head almost like he's pulling a trigger. See that? Yeah. So now he's saying Schumer shot. Interesting, right? So again, when you say you're watching a bad movie, I'm not saying that the Patriots are fully in control. I'm saying that there seems to be reason for everything we're telling us that we're watching a movie. Get your popcorn to continue to wake the masses up to what's going on. You know, there are things we would have never known, folks. Would have never known had it not been for them methodically putting together something that would let us realize, oh my goodness, I had no idea. What do you mean, LT? Well, this is what I mean. They had the Schumer shutdown. They knew it was coming. And when they did this, they said, you know, we're going to use this to do what? We're going to expose the Democrats for all their programs, number one. Number two, we're going to get rid of all of these jobs created in the government that are waste. IRS, one of them, a lot of them in the NIH, these medical freaks who go in and sit and drink coffee all day long and type on their computers and pretend they know what they're doing, and yet they're killing everyone. But here's a big one. I can't play this clip on the left. I'll play the one on the right, but just wanted you to hear that this guy says, okay, that I'm not working for nobody. He says the taxpayers work for us. They work for me. They got to help me feed my kids. Ultra Magadine Erickson, President Trump stopping exactly what the WEF and Democrats wanted. Universal basic income, a social welfare proposal in which all citizens of a given population regularly receive a minimum income in the form of an unconditional transfer payment without a need to perform work. It was always their philosophy. You will own nothing and be happy. Are you awake yet? Now, this lady is going to show us what they've been up to for many generations and how they teach their next generation to depend on who? On us working, us paying our taxes, and our taxes going to pay for them so they don't have to work.
So my sister made a video about how my whole entire family gets EBT. And everyone is calling us bums because we don't work and we live off the government. And we are proud of that. Growing up, this is what we were taught. We were taught to not have to work. We were taught to live off the government because it is there for us to use. And from what I could remember, it all started back with my grandparents. My grandparents used to get the paper, like the paper coupons to go and pay for, you know, food and stuff like that. And that's when I was like, this is free money. Like, what? So living off of EBT is literally a tradition in our family. Once my grandparents passed away, my mom started, you know, applying and she got approved for all 6 of us kids. And then, you know, once my sister got older, she had her first child, she applied for food stamps and she got, you know, like it was just like, you know, a domino effect. One after another, we all got approved for EBT. And guess what? It's not going to stop there. Why? Because I have taught my children, and I'm going to be teaching my grandchildren, that they should do the same thing. They don't have to work. They could just have children, put themselves on EBT, get child support, all of that I do so I don't have to work. They could do it themselves too.
They could do it themselves too. So we have it from generation to generation. I taught my kids, who taught their kids. And, I'm going to stay on this one for a second. There's somebody out there who's actually going to put some, make sense out of all of this. Okay? Check this out.
So it's on the CNN News. So the month of November, they told all the southern states to hold back Section 8 and their EBT benefits. Okay? So that means that no Thanksgiving and no Christmas. Okay? So therefore, you know what? Whoop-de-doo. Okay? Whoop-de-doo. Because let me tell you something, American people. It was only supposed to have been a temporary thing. Okay? I'm hearing people all up on this internet here talking about what they're going to do. They was getting $4,200 a month. Oh, what they was going to do. They was getting $1,200 a month in food stamps. But they all on iPhones. You're on iPhones. You're on Android. That's a luxury. Okay? To the government, that's a luxury. Okay? To the government, you're not supposed to have cable. Okay? To the government, there's a lot of things that was not prioritized right on Section 8, because Section 8, was supposed to be on it for 20 years, okay? To get food stamps, was supposed to get food stamp for 17 years. I hear one lady said that she had one child starting on it, but she got 6. How did you do that? Okay, I can understand maybe 1 or 2, the second one slipped out, but you had another 4 more. So my thing is, you don't get no sympathy for people like that, because my thing is, then I hear a lady that was in a wheelchair and she's sympathetic, but then she got 8 children. How you do that? How you lay down in the bedroom and you get 8 children and you're in a wheelchair? I don't understand. So my thing is, it was only supposed to be temporary. Okay. So what you got to do? Okay. Cause back in the days, we didn't have no hot pockets. Back in the days, we didn't have all this extra foolishness, juices up on the refrigerator, all kinds of cereals. Okay, you got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to oatmeal and you got to go back to cornflakes.
Amen.
Okay,
Amen.
Rice and chicken never gets old. Okay, you're gonna have to go back to cinnamon sugar on buttered toast. You got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to evaporated milk and sugar. That's your milk right there, honey. And put some little sweetener in it. And that's what you got to go back to. You got to go back to the basics. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. That never gets old, okay? You got to go back to Spam sandwiches. You got to go back to liverwurst, and you got to go back to those type of meats and stuff by the bulk, okay?
It'd be nice to have somebody like her go from city to city and train these folks on how to live properly without going crazy and losing their EBT benefits. I can't play this clip, but there's people now threatening to murder grocery store staff if they try to stop them from stealing. And there's people saying, don't risk your lives for a bag of groceries for the loss of EBT benefits. For all those that work in grocery stores, if they come in and they walk out to steal, my thought would be just record it, talk to your manager. Just my theory, if I was running the place, and say, look, do not take a risk on your life for this. And what's going to happen is, what my fear is, my hope that this wouldn't happen, they'll start requesting for government help in these stores, and then you have the cameras, and the next thing you know, you got lockdowns, and you got this and that and the other. It takes away our freedom to shop openly. Next thing you know, we got Big Brother watching everything every single second of every day. That's not what we want to see. Again, would we have known of this without the shutdown? I don't think so. We got a lot more to cover on Brennan and more. I just wanted to remind you guys, we have an amazing website, amweknow.com. Absolutely love it. You can find all of our videos there, all of our social media there. It's also all of this is in the description box below. You can learn more about our Freedom Cruise that's coming up in March. We had several more to sign up. We're in the literal hundreds of people coming now. You're going to be spending time with folks that you're going to meet from maybe someone in your state. You can connect with them. You're going to be able to meet with us. We'll have meet and greet time, Q&A time. And while we're at sea, folks, some folks say, what are we going to do while we're at sea for a full day on our way? Well, we're going to have probably 2 events, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, singing, worship, comedy. I'll be doing Q&A time, and we'll have I'll be talking about Q, and we have special guests also, so you don't want to miss it. And when you head over to the site, you'll also notice our AUK merch section. You click on that, and you'll be introduced to amazing clothes, folks. Sweatshirts and hoodies with our logo on it, accessories with our logo, hats, tees, and tanks. Jamie and Angie have worked so hard to make sure that you guys are taken care of, the colors that you want, the designs that you want, the material you want. A lot of effort's gone into this store, and I just would hope that you guys would go check it out. Look at our different, type of gear. Look at our hoodies, especially as we get into the fall and the winter seasons. And you'll notice we have different size logos, different parts, zipper, non-zip, you name it, folks. Different colors for you. I hope that you go check those out. And you never know, somebody might walk up to you and say, hey, I just want to let you know I watched that show too. Had somebody write me from Bozeman, Montana. I didn't get a chance to put that picture here, but you'll see it during the rollout here in a second. And she had just missed us when we were there for a rodeo. And I just want to let you know I got your message. Here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing our gear. Well, folks, here we are. Former CIA Director John Brennan officially been referred to the DOJ for criminal prosecution for lying to Congress. That's right. The Honorable Pamela J. Bondi, Attorney General, received that note from the House of Representatives. And we're going to hear now from Jim Jordan.
Anyway, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan is with us with more. I've read your letter to Pam Bondi. It is a, powerful prima facie case. He directly lied to Congress numerous times, and you believe you have the evidence.
Yeah, you're not supposed to lie, Sean, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath talking to Congress. And that's exactly what it looks like John Brennan did. He said he wasn't involved with the dossier at all. He said that to us under oath. He said he didn't want it included in the intelligence community assessment, the report that's put together. But then OD&I Director Tulsi Gabbard declassified a report that said just the opposite. In fact, John Brennan put in writing that he felt the dossier should be included in the report. And more importantly, when he was confronted by an individual who works at the CIA, and the individual said, Mr. Brennan, this dossier just doesn't hold up. There's not the underlying intelligence to support it. And Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Showing his true color, showing that he was out to get President Trump. So we think he lied. We think it's clear. And I'll be, Sean, I don't do a lot of these. I've done very few referrals. You got to have the evidence to do this. We think it's there. We think it is clear. We appreciate what Tulsi released and declassified that report, and that's why we sent it to the Justice Department. And we'll see what the Attorney General Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Blanche do with it now.
How about that? Remember New York Post put out these pictures, the spies who lie. And they showed us picture after picture, and everyone, again, if it's part of the show and part of waking up we the people, well, New York Post definitely got it out. The spies who lie. And we learned about Brennan and Clapper there on the very front. Brennan's up. And he was also on the board, the Q board, March 18th, 2019. His picture, the official picture, reminding us that, you know what? It's going to play out. It's going to play out soon. And these folks are going to be in trouble.
Oregon, do you feel unfettered to send the National Guard into whatever city you want now?
Well, I guess so. That was the decision. I can send the National Guard if I see problems. I looked at Portland over the weekend. The place is burning down, just burning down. We weren't there. We didn't spend much time there because we were waiting for that decision. But the court, maybe that influenced the court. But, You look at a place like Portland, it's ridiculous when they say that there's no problem. The place was on fire over the weekend. But we won the case in Court of Appeals. I think it was the Ninth Circuit, so that's pretty good. And a very strong opinion that we have the right to use the National Guard. You would think that would be common sense. We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble. Well, that's how I got elected. One of the reasons I got elected. Yes.
Mr. President, what changed your mind after talking to Vladimir Putin between then?
How about that, huh? I've had enough. We want him to go ahead and send the National Guard in. What are you waiting for, right? Till it gets to the point where folks are literally begging for support. I don't understand because I'm waiting for it. Would love to see the Insurrection Act played out, and we want to see these streets cleaned up. And I'm telling you what, we've grown weary of watching all of this play out. Now, interesting. Numerous of our now great allies in the Middle East, says President Trump, in areas surrounding the Middle East, have explicitly and strongly, with great enthusiasm, informed me that they would welcome the opportunity at my request to go into Gaza with a heavy force and straighten our Hamas if Hamas continues to act badly in violation of their agreement with us. The love and spirit for the Middle East has not been seen like this in 1,000 years. It's a beautiful thing to behold. I told these countries and Israel, not yet. There is still hope that Hamas will do what is right. If they do not, an end to Hamas will be fast, furious, and brutal. I would like to thank all of these countries, all those countries that called to help. Also, I would like to thank the great and powerful country of Indonesia and its wonderful leader for all the help they have shown and given to the Middle East and to the USA. To everyone, thank you for your attention to this matter. Of course, J.D. Vance was out there yesterday and trying to help out.
The president actually put out a truth this morning that I thought was very instructive who want to participate in that international security force. So my point is, I don't think it's actually advisable for us to say this has to be done in a week, because a lot of this work is very hard. It's never been done before. And in order for us to give it a chance to succeed, we've got to be a little bit flexible. I think what you're seeing from our Gulf Arab friends, certainly from our Israeli friends, is a certain amount of impatience with Hamas, but we're going to keep on working at this process, and we're going to keep on trying to bring the deceased hostages home, but also make sure that all Gazans are able to live in a prosperous and safe place.
Let's continue with this, shall we?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to have you. Look, I think that we are 1 week into President Trump's historic peace plan in the Middle East, and things are going, frankly, better than I expected that they were. This is a very, very tough situation. You have two peoples, two enemies who have fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people. You've got an Israeli army that was defending itself on the other, that has learned a lot over the past couple of years. And of course, you have an innocent civilian population in Gaza that's caught in the middle. But we're here at the Civilian Military Cooperation Center, which we are announcing the opening of. You have Israelis and Americans working hand in hand to try to begin the plan to rebuild Gaza, to implement a long-term peace, and to actually ensure that you have security forces on the ground in Gaza, not composed of Americans, who can keep the peace over the long term. So we've got a lot of work left to do. This is going to take a very, very long time, but I think Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Admiral Cooper behind me have done an incredible job. I want to say just a couple of quick things, and then I want to turn it over to Steve Witkoff. Number one, the Israeli government has been remarkably helpful in this. I want to thank them, thank our Israeli partners, and all the folks, particularly who are working hand in hand with their American friends here at the CMCC. And number two, I want to say that there is this weird attitude I've sensed in the American media and the Western media, where there's almost this desire to root for failure, that every time something bad happens, that every time that there's an act of violence, there's this inclination to say, oh, this is the end of the ceasefire, this is the end of the peace plan. It's not the end. It is, in fact, exactly how this is going to have to happen when you have people who hate each other, who have been fighting against each other for a very long time. We are doing very well. We are in a very good place. We're going to have to keep working on it, but I think we have the team to do exactly that. So with all thanks to our partners, both in Israel, but all across the Gulf Arab states, Indonesia, the Turks, we are doing an amazing thing here, and I'm particularly proud of the American troops working at the command center who are coordinating this effort and making it possible.
So why have they been going at it for so long? What would fuel the fire to create enemies? Remember we talked about war brings profit. I'm going to show you what President Trump said in his speech yesterday. And I played it in the intro concerning one individual who was connected to a guy named No Name. First, this.
So, studies have been done to show that the flavonols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it. And so we can eat foods like high flavanol cocoa in order to be able to actually get the stem cells to work a little bit better. Now, how do we know this actually functions, it works in people? Well, clinical studies have been done with high flavanol cocoa to show that in like men who are in their 60s with heart disease, they could actually just have 2 cups of dark chocolate hot cocoa a day for a month. Yeah. And they doubled the amount of stem cells in their bloodstream, and their circulation improved measurably. And then what's even more important and impressive is that there was a study called the Cosmos study that was completed recently that showed that eating high flavanol cocoa decreases the risk of cardiovascular death.
Yeah.
Right, over a period
like
of
a statin.
Like a statin, right. Exactly. Except made with by eating the same thing that you use to make chocolate.
That's incredible.
So we're not telling people to go out to have chocolate, which is a confection, which has got a lot of sugar and all kinds of other stuff in it. Yeah. But it's the stuff underneath it, the core of it.
Did you know there's a natural way to support your own stem cell activity, and it comes from high flavanol cocoa? Studies have been done to show that the flavanols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees coming out of a beehive in your bloodstream. Harvard scientist Dr. William Lee actually backs this up. That's right, dark chocolate. But here's the thing. Flavanols are the good stuff found in cocoa beans, but they're usually destroyed during the chocolate making process. That's where Black Forest supplements come in. They've created the first ever high flavanol cocoa powder packed with everything your body actually needs, and it's only 20 calories. I mix it with my coffee, my protein shake. It tastes amazing. This isn't regular cocoa. It's stem cell fuel, no sugar, 20 calories. Mix it in coffee or shakes. If you feel old, slow, or just off, lazy, stem cells might be why. But this, it flips the switch. 100% increase in stem cell circulation. A whopping buy one, get one free promo has been given to us for 48 hours only. Its link is in the description box below. Check it out today. So, listen to this.
But now it's for the media, and I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest of them. I can't believe it. What happened? They're all on the other side of the wall. Can you believe it? Because this is supposed to be sort of a private event, and there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsey, you learned that a long time ago, right? The great Lindsey Graham doing fantastic. You're up 34 points, Lindsey. That's not bad, I'll tell you. It's not bad.
Did you catch that? We can't have private meetings in politics, so Lindsey Graham would know all about that, wouldn't he? You think that that's in his notes? President Trump's notes as he's looking down, he's reading them? You think this is a nod to all of us to let us know what's playing out? Strange, right? Ultra Magadine Erickson caught it. President called out Lindsey Graham by saying this is supposed to be sort of a private event, right? There's no such thing in politics as private. Lindsey, you're up 34 points. Well, 34 is for all of us to read. We've read it over and over and over again, but we'll have a summary of that from Dean Erickson. We all know that Lindsey Graham has been involved in many private meetings with deep state players, but also in Ukraine and with other terrorist organizations. Now put that together with what Post 34 says in the Q board. And the first sentence, and it all makes sense what President Trump is telling us. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. He called out Lindsey Graham for what he really is, a traitor to this country, and one of the evil tyrants that is trying to destroy us from within. Now, many people would say in a confusing way, well, sometimes he supports Lindsey, or sometimes he says he's a great guy, or he has to, we have to get him reelected. Again, if you guys go back and you look at the Q board, qagg.ne.news, you type in Lindsey Graham, look him up. You'll see he pops up, and he seems to have a friendship with a guy named No Name McCain. No Name McCain. There he is pictured with No Name in Ukraine, right? There he is with Obama. We showed you in the intro. Smiling it up, having a blast with all the Democrats. And there he is again in the bottom picture. They were buddies, him and No Name. Well, looks like Lindsey was told, you better cooperate with us now that we know that you and No Name work together. Well, No Name's pictured here, in case you guys, some of you are new to this, and you say, what? Oh my goodness, and you're holding your heart because you can't believe that you're hearing about this guy McCain and what he did. Abu Mossa, ISIS press officer, he's standing with him. He's standing with Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, head of ISIS. He's standing with Mohammed Noor, Syrian terrorist, and Moaz Mustafa, Syrian Emergency Task Force. Yeah. There he is in meetings with them in a room. There are Marines saying, I didn't join the Marine Corps to fight for the Al-Qaeda in a Syrian civil war. The military, they were in duress. They were like, what am I doing over here? Started realizing, man, they're having these meetings back and just hanging out with these terrorists, traitor to our country. Now you're starting to understand more of why President Trump would even say this about private meetings, huh? Private meetings. Going forward, the Tulsi Gabbard DNI. U.S. counterterrorism resources helped capture Sinaloa Cartel Plaza boss, El Pato. Yep, they provided actionable intelligence to U.S. and Mexican law enforcement officials to successfully capture a boss. So the Office of DNI announced the arrest of that Cartel Plaza boss, Leonardo Daniel Martinez Vera, who also is known as El Pato in Juarez, Mexico, on October 15th, stemming from U.S. intelligence officials helping authorities locate him. The release states that El Pato is allegedly responsible for leading a wide range of illicit activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, and murder. And for those out there that say nothing's happening, when are we going to see the arrests? FBI arrests federal employee for alleged unlawful retention of national defense information. Yeah. Ashley Tellis, 64 years old, was arrested by the FBI October 11th after he removed over 1,000 pages of classified national defense information from government officials and stored them in the basement of his home in Virginia. Tellis, they always put allegedly, oh my goodness, had a top secret security clearance with sensitive, compartmented information access and worked for the State Department. He also worked as a contractor of the Department of Defense's Office of Net Assessment. Folks, there's at least 500,000 or more sealed indictments. I think they've already cleared 100,000 of them. I don't know. There's a lot of them left. White House begins demolishing the East Wing facade to build Trump's ballroom, right? This is from Hillary Clinton. It's not his house. It's your house, and he's destroying it. He's destroying the White House. These guys are losing their mind. You know, he's not even touching the White House at all. He's just at a section of it. And folks they're going crazy over this construction that he's doing in the White House. That's what they're calling it, right? But Eric Trump chimed in to old Hillary and said the ballroom will be spectacular, unlike your work in Haiti. Haiti. Very interesting. So much is open source, so much left to be connected. Why are the children in Haiti in high demand? How are they smuggled out? adoption process, local staging ports friendly to Clinton Foundation, track the donations, cross against location relative to Haiti, think logically. The choice to know will be yours. Who are we taught to trust the most? This will not be easy. The end. We're taught to trust the media. I don't know. I'm guessing. We're taught to trust the politicians and the foundations, the Christian foundations, and more. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips. Look at what, remember, just a reminder of what they asked President Trump to do when he was running for office back in the day.
In 2010, the earthquake of Haiti, not only American taxpayers, but the whole world has given billions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation for the Haitians. Not even 2% of that money went back to Haiti. So, Mr. Trump, we are asking you, begging you, the Haitian community will side with you if one day you ask Hillary Clinton publicly to disclose the audit of all the money they have stolen from Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake.
So President Trump knew. He's sitting there, he's listening to the people, and they're saying, we want to know where the billions of dollars, he says, billions, to the Clinton Foundation. And remember, just a reminder for those that don't know about this, might be new to this, President Trump gave that speech, right, when he was running against Hillary Clinton, and he said the following in front of these snakes.
The wonder of WikiLeaks. We've learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. That's okay. I don't know who they're angry at, Hillary, you're right. For example, here she is tonight in public pretending not to hate Catholics. Now, if some of you haven't noticed, Hillary isn't laughing as much as the rest of us. That's because she knows the jokes. And all of the jokes were given to her in advance of the dinner by Donna Brazil, which is, everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
And there's the piercing eyes from the witch, who did all she could to try to keep everybody from knowing what she did. And that, I believe, is the real face of Hillary, not the actress that was brought out. Remember when she went out for the 9/11, I believe it was a baseball game or some type of 9/11 remembrance or something, and they put her in handcuffs and they told everybody it was a medical situation, but she had her hands behind her back. If it was medical, they would have put her in an ambulance and send her out. But nope. They walked her out. They had her in handcuffs. Wonder why. Here's another reminder.
Any comment? No comment. Not right now.
In November of 2009, a woman named Laura Silsby founded a nonprofit, the New Life Children's Refuge, which described its mission as attempting to rescue orphaned and abandoned children in Haiti and Dominican Republic. 2 months later, on January 29, 2010, Silsby was arrested for attempting to traffic 33 orphaned children out of Haiti without documentation.
Are some of the 33 Haitian children an American Baptist group allegedly tried to unlawfully take out of the country on Saturday.
Laura Silsby says the group paid no money for the children.
The mistake obviously we made is we did not understand that there was additional paperwork required.
Would later learn through WikiLeaks that Hillary Clinton was sent email updates from Uma Abedin and other associates regarding Silsby's incarceration and developing legal case. This was not the first time Silsby found herself facing child trafficking charges. Silsby had been caught once before by Haitian police attempting to traffic 40 children out of the country. However, in that incident, no charges were brought against her, and she was merely turned back at the border. A week after Silsby was apprehended the second time, on February 7th, 2010, former President Bill Clinton appointed Silsby a lawyer by the name of Jorge Puello. Puello was successful in getting Silsby's charges reduced to 6 months. Jorge Puello also had a colorful history with human trafficking. He was convicted of operating an international sex trafficking ring involving women and underage girls out of Central America and Haiti. Puello's wife was also arrested on the same charges. In 2011, Silsby was appointed as CFO of the software company Connexus and would later become its vice president of marketing. One of IPAW's functions is to issue Amber Alerts to the public in the event of kidnapping. The Amber Alert system was set up during Bill Clinton's presidency. In 2015, Laura Silsby married Norman Gaylor and took his last name, which is how her name now appears on the Connexus website. How does a woman who was caught multiple times attempting to traffic children internationally get promoted to the executive team of the preeminent kidnapping warning system in the country? Izette Folger, a close friend of Clinton associate James Alefantis, gave a statement in support of Silsby during her trial. Folger is the daughter of Michael Maccabee, who coaches leaders of Nuestros Pequeños Hermanos, or NPH, a large organization that runs orphanages all over the world. Folger's son, Max Maccabee, is on the board of directors of an NPH orphanage called Friends of the Orphans, which is one of the 760 orphanages operating in Haiti and happens to be the exact orphanage from which Silsby was caught trafficking children. Curiously, Max Maccabee gave an emphatic and lengthy statement of support for Comet Pizza during a contentious neighborhood commission meeting back when the Pizzagate controversy exploded. It is also worth noting here that Frank Giustra, owner of the Radcliffe Foundation, is on the board of directors for the Clinton Foundation and is a major donor to the organization. The logo of El Pita Home, a refugee center founded by the Radcliffe Foundation, happens to be almost identical in shape and color to the boy lover symbol that the FBI declassified in 2007. Scandals seem to follow the Clintons.
The scandals following the Clintons. And he mentioned WikiLeaks and Comet Pizza in this video. And you remember President Trump mentioned in this dinner, the Al Smith dinner, the wonder of WikiLeaks.
The wonder of WikiLeaks.
He knows. They know. And I'm sure the cases are being put together to uncover more than just her, obviously. How about the guy who ordered $79,000 in hot dogs, I believe was the amount. It could be wrong, but it was a lot. So they could be delivered late at night. Obama.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've
He
seen...
needs help.
Have you seen pictures of the architecture? And
Yeah, I did. It's not too pretty.
The Obama Presidential Library was brought up yesterday. Right on cue. With Hillary and now Obama.
No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. It means building a library / museum. You know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck.
You know what's interesting? He's answering a question asked by the press, but he's looking down at his book with the large text on it. Now, I'm just guessing. I could be wrong, but could he be reading notes, helping him answer this question?
And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You know, I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggested he get them involved, but they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget. And I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories.
Reading terrible stories. I think it stopped. Terrible stories. Terrible stories of what? Well, he's supposedly talking about the building. Terrible stories, though, are those of what he was involved in with Clinton's. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol posted the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. You're looking at it on your screen, showing the clock at 9:01:36 at 9:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trump posted this vid about Obama, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and Hillary at 11:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alice equals HRC. It's definitely connected.
Should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend.
Very interesting. Otis the 17 put these together for us. Criminal illegal alien who evacuated or evaded deportation during the Biden administration. 91, the 9, the 1 on the clock. Why is MS-13 a priority? Why wasn't HRC prosecuted for the emails? HRC. Alice in Wonderland, Hillary in Saudi Arabia. I've got some more at the end of this video to share with you from that decode. First, we were talking about Ireland, and they had that 10-year-old who was RAPE by an illegal who was supposed to be deported. The people showed up. They showed up in droves yesterday, if you missed this. And they were at the building where all these illegals are housed, and their taxpayer money is paying for all this, these people. And they've had enough. And they're throwing their bottles at them. And there were cars burning and more. And this is what the elites, they stand up there and they laugh because this is what they want. They want fighting. They want anger. So they can bring more control and big government in to put a stop to it all. And you think that these government folks care? Nope, these demon-possessed people do not give a rip. This guy right here was asked a question about all this going on, the protesters and more.
And then we see something else like this in 6 months or 12 months. Like when is the action part going to come in, I guess is what I'm asking.
And the first thing, and look, I stand here with you every week, and I'll be back here, and we'll continue this conversation as we should. But I do want to allow a little bit of time here to actually establish the facts, because I don't want to say something that turns out to be patently false or wrong in a couple of hours or a couple of days' time. You couldn't be a citizen of Ireland and read this case this morning and read the information in the public domain and not be deeply concerned and worried.
Deeply concerned and worried. How about upset and angry? When are these people going to take responsibility for what they brought into the country? Yet that's how they behave. They want to throw us out of our home. Anyone who doesn't accept veiled women, anyone who doesn't accept Islam in Belgium can leave. So that's in Belgium, folks. But that's happening throughout Europe, one country after another. You don't want to accept us, you can leave. In Dearborn, Michigan, one of the leaders there actually said, hey, if you're going to talk to me like that, if you don't like it here, you can leave. The guy actually got up, a Turning Point USA chapter president, and he spoke out publicly about what's going on there.
Noah Mullins, Grand Rapids. Council, I have the privilege of serving as the Turning Point USA chapter president at Grand Valley State University in Allendale, Michigan, and I have traveled home tonight to speak with you because of how disturbed I am by recent events in this city. On September 8, 2025, leaders of this city made their allegiance clear. Osama Sablani is a terrorist sympathizer, full stop. I speak on behalf of Americans everywhere when I say that renaming the corner of Warren Avenue and Chase to honor this individual stands against everything this great country represents. Americans do not stand by silently when Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists slaughter innocent men, women, and children. Neither does Mr. Sablani. But instead of denouncing these terrorist organizations like Americans should, he describes Hamas as freedom fighters and describes the former leader of Hezbollah as a hero. I was born in this city, and I no longer recognize my beloved Dearborn. On September 9th, Mayor Hammoud decided to add insult to injury and rebuke a Dearborn resident who brought to light this very issue. Mayor, know that your rebuke of me will fail to make me yield, and that you have revealed your true nature to all of us. As if these two events weren't enough, the city has also decided to not enforce their own noise ordinances by allowing the Islamic call to prayer from local mosques at times as early as 5:30 a.m. Men and women across America are waking up to the state of our city, and all eyes are on Dearborn. I'm a 22-year-old man, but I am willing to give all of myself, and even my life, to the defense of my land, my people, my Lord, and my future wife and children. My future wife and children deserve to live in a safe and prosperous Metro Detroit like I did growing up. If our region is to continue down the path of Dearborn and Hamtramck, what will become of us?
So very interesting, because they named the streets after terrorist sympathizers. They're only going to get more and more into the face of the people. You know, just real quick, only hours after the illegal African migrant raped a 10-year-old Irish girl, and I said that word, I wasn't going to say it. Anyway, they're providing escorts for a fresh batch of illegals in Dublin. You can see that on your video. Yep, the police escort them in, and off they go in from another country. And that's what they're showing, and that's how it plays out. Some other news, it's credible. Bloomberg reports that Walmart, America's largest private employer, is pausing all job offers to candidates requiring H-1B visas as a result of Trump's new $100,000 fee. And again, when people tell you nothing's happening, President Trump must be bad, and you hear this rhetoric, which I'm going to kind of talk about real quick because I wasn't going to bring this up, but now that I said that, there are YouTubers out there that are well trusted, and I watch some of them, and I put some comments below some of them, and you know, it's mostly on YouTube, some on Rumble, who for years supported President Trump, support everything he does, but he does one thing that they don't like or something that's confusing. Well, a lot of them don't pay attention the way we do in watching how he puts people in front of us to then research them and find out who they are. So what they say is, well, he must be tied to them because he's standing with them and shaking hands with them, or he's presenting a speech and putting them out for the public to say he must be friends with them. They're bad. And this is my take on that real quick, just real quick. I wanted to say this. When they do that, they're causing problems, bringing fear in others. Now, can we question the President of the United States? Yes. Can we say, I don't really agree with that? Yes, we can. And we can send in our complaints. He's human. He's not perfect. And we don't worship him. But I believe they've got a team behind him, and they're working together to expose people day in and day out so that we do the research and we can get out to the public and tell everybody, hey, be careful who you're following because this is what's going on. So I'm just telling you, it doesn't mean we're mad at these YouTubers. It doesn't mean we're upset with them. They just don't get it. And so when we say, oh, I'm not going to vote for him anymore. He just didn't do this one thing I wanted him to do, or two things he messed up on. Well, you know what, folks? What were your options? Number two, if you think he's not doing anything or making huge changes for this country, then if you've got another thing coming. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm just saying. There's a lot of great things that we can talk about. And getting into the weeds because one thing or one handshake to change your mind about him and then go out and tell your 100,000 subscribers, your 2 million subscribers that you don't trust him anymore based off of that. Anyway, he put this leader in charge, and again, a reminder for our children.
Get out. Get your kids out of government school systems right now, if you can. If you have any way, save money, move, get a second job, don't take the vacation, sell the boat, whatever, drive for Uber, figure out what you need to do to get your kid out of the government school system, because it's about saving your kid right now. What I want to know is what's being pumped into the minds of those kids. And what you realize when you pull the curtain back over 100 years is the entire pipeline of our education system has been federalized intentionally, and taken over not just by like lefties or technocrats or bureaucrats. Everyone you meet through that timeline who's pushing hard on the shoulder on the plow of education is an atheist, a Marxist, or a socialist, or a humanist. A lot of them are humanists, which is
what's a humanist?
Humanist is basically completely rejects Christianity or faith at all, and so it's all humanity is at the center of good and evil, right and wrong. It's effectively secularism posited as an alternative religion to Christianity.
Oh.
So it'll find politics as an avenue, and so humanists are often socialists or Marxists or communists alongside being a humanist. But it's the worship of mankind as the highest being, as opposed to God as the highest being.
So it's great to have that reminder to take care of our children and watch what we're doing. I mean, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Grab some teachers that are tired and say, you know what, I noticed that you're tired of the system that you're working in. And we've got some families together, and we'd love for you to use our house, and we've got a room for you. And there's 6 families together. We'd love for you to teach our children, and we put our money together, and we put together a nonprofit. And next thing you know, you've got a teacher teaching your children legally. It's a homeschool program, or it's your own school that you developed. There's ways to make it happen, folks, and to support those teachers that need to keep their jobs too. There's great teachers in our public schools they're caught in all of it, and they realize, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? Christian schools are full. They can't get a job there. Hey, we can work together and create our own. I promised I was going to tell you a little more on the decode from Grasshopper 17 on the CBP saying how it feels to be a criminal, illegal alien who evaded deportation during the Biden administration when Border Patrol rolls up to the sanctuary city you've been hiding out in. The White House retweeted this with the picture of the rabbit, the famous rabbit we've seen many times before. Remember, Trump's first truth emphasized eyes on with gap codes. And the crumbs, and without me having to go through this in detail, basically, all the connections from this and the reposting from the White House with all the timestamps and everything else point to this. Full circle. Think recent events, Antifa. Something big is about to drop. Last boom will be magical. Anons know why. The Great Awakening. Public will know soon. Sealed indictments. Acts of treason. That pretty much summarizes everything that we talked about in this video today. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more to talk about day after day, especially when they go through this list of the spies who lie. It's going to be biblical.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, once again, we come before you in your throne. We thank you for all that you do in and through our lives. We are completely overwhelmed by your grace and mercy, and by the ability that we have to see the things that you're doing with the leaders that you've chosen at the right moments, even the imperfect folks that are on this earth, to use them in such a time as this, in this little season that we're living in before your return. And we ask that you would continue to guide and protect those on the front lines as we watch the enemy continue to get destroyed, as these sealed indictments continue to be opened, and we watch one key player after another who have destroyed our country completely be put in the limelight for all of us to realize what's playing out. We lift up all those in Ireland who are suffering over the announcement of what happened to their little girl there in that community. For all those in the UK, all those in Germany that are dealing with so many corrupt politicians bringing in these illegals to cover up their own crimes. That's why they do it, and we understand it even more. For our own cleanup of our country. For those around the world that are just begging for guidance and direction. Would you help us in our own lives, in our own way of talking to our own neighbors and our friends and family, going through these different breakdowns of material day after day. Again, we thank you and we bring this before your throne in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you for tuning in. It's a big midweek deal for all of us. Just a reminder, we have that live Q&A Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dr. Shockley. You can ask your questions from her. We love doing those. And she has a wealth of info. It's absolutely amazing when we do these. And we just thank you for your support. And we thank you for your prayers. For now, this LT Semper Fi, with them we know. Signing out.
We have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
This is supposed to be sort of a private event, and there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsay, you learned that a long time ago, right?